but it's like, Lancome, babes, it's 2021, like we need to get the shades sorted, do you know what I mean? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about my favorite foundations for oily skin. So after doing my Fenty skin tint review, first impressions kind of video, which I will link down below and in the cards, I made me think about foundations that are actually good for oily skin. So spoiler alert about that foundation, or skin tint even. I thought, why don't I share some of my favorite foundations for oily skin? So I have 7 foundations to show you and then 2 honorable mentions. I am definitely looking to increase my foundation collection this year, as I am every year. I have so many on my wish list, but we haven't been able to go anywhere, so I couldn't really justify it. The countries I'm looking now, so I can justify my foundation ejection. But before we get into the video, my name is Kristen, and on this channel I like to mix luxury and affordable fashion and beauty. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then you might as well subscribe and hit the notification bell, because you're probably going to be back here. So let's get into the video. Before I get into the foundations that I want to share today, I should say that I of course have oily skin. I have always had oily skin. Even now I'm using tretinoin, I still have oily skin. Like, the oils are, the oil in my skin, it's a part of who I am. I just have oily skin. Nothing I can do about it. I tend to get oily in this sort of like landing strip of my face. My nose just always gets oily. But the foundations that I'm gonna talk about today are the best at keeping me together for a good amount of time. So let's actually just share some foundations, because I've been talking for too long. So the first foundation I'm going to talk about is the Too Faced Born This Way matte foundation. I have the original version of this foundation and I absolutely love it. I will talk about that later in the video, but the matte one is really for oily skin. It gives a nice level of coverage. I've had fuller coverage foundations in the past, but this one, it covers up my blemishes pretty well. It holds up all day. I've used this a few times with the Huda Beauty matte primer. Oh my gosh, that combo together. I got the shade Chai in this foundation because I wear the shade Chai in the original foundation. I haven't actually done like a side-by-side comparison to see if they are exactly the same shade, but this shade still works for me fine. Once you've primed and set and everything, this is going to be on for a very long time, and it looks really beautiful on the skin. It doesn't leave me looking shiny after hours of wear, and I would say the finish is definitely more of a matte finish, not that like really kind of like powdery matte. So yeah, I really like this foundation, and I will be repurchasing it when it runs out. Let's go on to our next foundation, since it is here. The Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation. This is a really interesting foundation. This is actually great for oily skin. I don't know, I feel like I don't see a ton of people talking about this really. I believe it comes in quite a few shades. I will insert the number of shades on the screen. What's interesting about this foundation is that it's pretty much a full coverage foundation, but it's extremely lightweight. I've not really come across a formula quite like this before. I wear the shade 70WY. It gives you a natural matte finish, I would say. This lasts a really long time, and I don't get super oily with it at all either. The only thing with this foundation is sometimes I feel like the shade can be a little bit off, so that is kind of why I do tend to mix it with other foundations. I do find that a lot with foundation shades, like they're never quite perfect for me, but I really like this foundation. It is a great one if you have oily skin, so I would highly recommend it. Yes, so let's talk about something from the drugstore, as the Americans would say. So this is, and by the way, my foundations are like, I use them, so they look dirty, okay? They look bad, but you know, what can we do? The NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. This is hands down the best foundation for oily skin, mattifying foundation at an affordable price range that I have ever tried. Hands down, no question, no one comes close. This foundation, you don't even need to set it. It's so oil controlling, long lasting, full coverage. I would say this is more of a matte finish, but this is great. This is a really good foundation. Again, my only thing with this foundation is that I don't know about the shades, are a bit funny. They have a ton of shades. I'll put the number of shades on the screen. Yeah, I don't know, the undertones felt a bit weird, but I did manage to find something. I wear the shade Sienna, 17.5 Sienna, and this is workable for me. So I really like this foundation if you're looking for something more affordable. And I actually think I have a fuller review of this on my Instagram, so check that out if you are interested. Let's talk about Bobbi Brown, because this is an interesting one. Okay, this is the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation, SPF 15. Not sure what that's doing. And it's full coverage, oil-free, shine control. So this foundation is a great one for oily skin as well. I do find that I would have to make sure that I prime and set with this one. If you have your routine together, this is going to hold up nicely. It does give a really beautiful finish, I'm not going to lie. It does give a really nice skin-like finish, I would say. The only thing I would say about this foundation is it has quite a strong smell. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a botanical smell. I'm not sure, but it has all like green kind of smell. I don't like the scent of this, and it's so prominent when you're putting it on your face. Again, I think I've done a full review of this on my Instagram as well. This is a nice foundation. It's a good foundation for oily skin. If you're not sensitive to smell, I think that you will be fine. Or maybe I just got a dud foundation, because I don't know, maybe it doesn't smell. But for me, oh, the scent. Let's go on to something slightly different. The Lancome stick foundation. This one is a great one to have in your collection. It's so small, so compact. It will go nicely in a handbag if you ever want to touch up. I just feel like this is such a great one to have when you want to do your makeup really quickly. It's just kind of fuss free, particularly now whilst we're wearing masks. This is like really handy. You definitely need to prime and set with this one. If you just wear it by itself, you're gonna get very shiny. I have made that mistake numerous times. I don't find it to be amazing just on its own. Once you prime and set, it's good for a good few hours. Love this one, and I would recommend it. My biggest issue with this foundation is, one, the shades are super confusing. There's like different shades, I think, in like America to like the UK, and I don't know, but the shades make no sense. You can get really confused. I wear the shade 10 Praline, and I feel like there's another Praline that's like a completely different shade as well. Like, it's just very, very confusing. And also the shade range. Lancome, guys, we need to sort the shade range out, because I don't even know, there's like very few shades after mine, and this one is actually even too dark for me, but the one lighter than this is too light for me. So it's workable when I add all my concealer and all that stuff, but it's like, Lancome, babes, it's 2021, like we need to get the shades sorted, do you know what I mean? So love this shade range in the bin, but a really great stick foundation for oily skin. And this was recommended to me when I was in America years ago now, in Sephora, and I was looking for the Hourglass foundation stick, and the sales associate at the store was like, yeah, that's not great for oily skin, try the Lancome stick foundation. And I haven't looked back now. Oh, how could I not have talked about this foundation yet? Guys, the Fenty Beauty, the original Fenty Beauty, is so good for oily skin. When I first started using it, I don't even think I really realized like oh my gosh, the finish of this foundation is absolutely stunning. It's definitely more of a kind of natural matte finish. I always get compliments whenever I'm wearing this foundation, which I'm like, okay. It's definitely long wearing. It holds up under a mask, because I wore it the other day. It was looking really good even after taking my mask off. This is kind of like my holy grail foundation, I'm not gonna lie. This is definitely the one that I will keep repurchasing. It's just my easiest go-to foundation, and I absolutely love it. You can get away with forgetting your setting and forgetting your primer and setting powder for a few hours with this foundation. Not for ages, but for a few hours. It definitely holds up. But once you prime and you set, this is on for the day. Okay, now we are down to our final foundation, and then I'm going to talk about my honorable mentions. This, I have to hide the top because it is absolutely disgusting, because I actually haven't used this one for a really long time, but I need to throw this one away and get a new one, because I've had this for years and it's actually extremely embarrassing. But I have it here because I haven't thrown it away, so I thought, let me just show it. So this is the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation, and this is hands down, in my opinion, the best foundation for oily skin. Obviously I haven't tried all the foundations for oily skin, so that statement is like not even a real statement. But guys, this is full coverage, it is matte, it won't budge, it's lasting all day, and you are not going to get oily with this foundation. If you have really oily skin, I can't recommend this foundation enough. The biggest issue with this foundation for me is the shades. I have never been able to find a shade that is absolutely perfect for me. I feel like I've said that with a lot of the foundations that I've talked about, but I feel like that's just a general thing for me across all foundations. I wear the shade 5N2 Amber Honey. If I have a tiny bit of a tan, I will mix this with a slightly darker foundation. That said though, I know that some people find this foundation to be just far too matte, far too full coverage, far too heavy. If you're somebody that doesn't like a full coverage kind of matte foundation, then don't even look at this foundation. They have so many different alternatives to this foundation at this point. Just look to those from Estee Lauder. Don't look at this one, because this one is your true matte full coverage foundation. So I have two foundations to talk about in this honorable mention category. First one is the Too Faced Born This Way Original Foundation and the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Foundation. These foundations were discoveries of last year, of 2020 and 2019 for me. And I absolutely love them. So these are not actually really marketed for people with oily skin. The Too Faced foundation is oil free, but that is very different from shine control or mattifying, and this one is obviously more of a hydrating formula, the Fenty one. So typically these would be foundations that I would just stay away from. Even with some matte foundations, you know, they don't look matte on me, so why would I go for something that is, you know, not advertised as matte? But these are great foundations to mix with your other foundations. So if you find that a foundation is a little bit too matte for you, or if you want to add a little bit of like dewiness to the skin, a bit more of like a skin-like finish to your already matte foundation, I think these two are great options. They mix well with so many foundations. This foundation, Fenty foundations just generally mix really well with other foundations. I've heard so many people also say that, and I find it to be completely true as well. So today I mixed it with the other Too Faced, the matte one. And as I'm getting older, I'm less concerned about being like super matte. I'm happy for my skin to have, you know, a bit of dew to it, a little bit of health to it, but not like crazy shiny, oily, you know, greasy looking. And then with this foundation, I also love to mix it with other foundations. I've mixed it with this, I've mixed it with the Uoma Beauty foundation, I mix it with this because this is a little bit darker. This foundation together, absolutely beautiful. With this one, if I use this one on its own, I have to do my full like oil control routine. This foundation though has the most incredible finish. It's the most beautiful skin-like finish I think I've seen in a foundation. So those are my favorite foundations for oily skin in my current collection. I am going to be buying some new foundations very soon. I'm thinking I want to try some luxury foundations. I want to try the new Gucci Beauty foundation. I want to try the Pat McGrath foundation. I want to try some Dior foundations, and I need to try the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk foundation. I don't really know about all of those for oily skin, but I'm gonna test them because I've heard amazing things about all of them, so I'm looking forward to trying it. Also, I want to try the two new Huda foundations as well, so definitely going to be some more foundation reviews coming to the channel very soon. So if you're interested in that, then you might as well subscribe. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check out some of my other videos and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks guys, bye.